What's up, gang? It's Ryan here from Ruck.Beer, and today we're doing a side-by-side comparison looking at the Armor Gray and Coyote Rucker 4.0 and the Wolf Gray and Coyote GR1. Both of these rucks were released around the same time, and there were some questions about the color schemes and what they look like in person and compared to each other, so I thought we'd take a look at them together. To begin with, you'll notice that on the Rucker 4.0, the Armor Gray is a darker gray than Wolf. In person, it almost has a bluish tint to it, so it's a really lovely color. I super enjoy it. When they're not side by side, the two look really similar, but as you can see, the Wolf Gray on the GR1 is a much lighter material. Now, I reached out to GORUCK to kind of see if I could figure out why they're different and didn't really hear an answer back. The best answer that I've heard for the variants on the internet is that the Rucker 4.0 is made in Vietnam, whereas the GR1 is made in the United States. And the manufacturing facilities just simply have different access to slightly different colors within their Cordura selection. So because of that, we obviously can't have the same naming convention because it's a different color. Now, what I found interesting when the GR1 arrived, I obviously expected the Wolf Gray to look a little bit different than the Armor Gray. What I wasn't ready for is the Molly on the GR1. Now, if you look closely, and we'll get a closer shot than where we are right now, but the Molly on the Rucker 4.0 is clearly a coyote brown, whereas on the GR1, it's a very green tint to it. Maybe not quite Ranger green, but if Ranger green and Coyote brown got together, this is what their child would look like. So, though Coyote is the name for this Wolf Gray and Coyote, it's definitely a different Coyote. So, for example, I've got a, this is a 15-liter bullet ruck, and you can see, I mean, this is Coyote on Coyote. Clearly, this is a different color than the webbing that we have right here. Now, of course, this bullet was made in Vietnam as well. So I dug around in my bags, and one of my favorite bags, especially for travel, is my GR2, which I happen to have in Coyote. So again, this would be a USA made, though it was made, gosh, I got this maybe 4 years ago. So it's been around the block, but clearly the Molly here is a much more green Molly than what we have on this Coyote GR2. What's interesting is that as we open up this GR1, now the Molly is still green, but if I look at, say, this material right here that's kind of on the fringe of our pockets and whatnot, it's certainly a much browner Coyote. We've got brown accent here, but on the rubber band it's more of a green. The zipper area, it falls more towards a green Coyote. So it's just an interesting mix of color schemes. While we're looking at differences between the two rucks, when we do open them up, one of the things that I really liked about the Armor Gray Rucker 4.0 is that the Coyote colorway follows into the bag itself here. So when we look on the inside, we've carried the Coyote colorway into the pocket panel and to the back of the ruck. I found that super attractive. It's something that GORUCK has been doing on some of their bags. You can find some various ones that have the different camo patterns on the inside, and it looks really slick. On the inside here, we went with the solid wolf gray and the wolf gray on the pocket, whereas the mesh goes for more of a coyote, whereas we kept the gray over here. As far as the wolf gray itself, how true is it to the historic wolf gray? Because I know people like to collect bags within certain color schemes. I was able to round up an old school, this is a Rucker 2.0. So this was made in the USA, and it's got a little age and wear on it, so it might look slightly different, but the grays really do kind of go together. So as far as the color of the wolf gray, it does seem to be a true wolf gray material. So if you've got some other wolf gray rucks or bags that you're looking to match with, that will certainly fill the role. If there was one other thing that I would point out about the GR1, since we've already taken a full look at the Armor Rucker, which I'll link to up here in the video, is that there are some accent points. So the stitching, the box X stitching here on the handle carries that gray through, which is a nice little accent. And on the stitching here on the box X on both of the shoulder straps and across the molly carries that wolf gray, which is different than what we see in the Rucker 4.0, where the stitching does stay with that coyote pattern. So that's kind of a side-by-side look at the Rucker 4.0 Armor Gray and the GR1 Wolf Gray and Coyote. But is it really coyote? I don't know. If you've got any thoughts about why this coyote looks a little bit green, or what you think about either of these two rucks, sound off in the comments below. If you got any questions, let us know. We're happy to try and answer them. But other than that, we'll see you next time.